Well, good morning, everybody. It's me, Mitch. Funny thing happened. I recorded my whole morning rant, my Monday morning vlog, and something happened on the SD card on the camera, and it was not usable. So I said to myself, damn, I guess I'll have to do that all over again. It's not often in life you get a do-over, but it is what it is. Can't disappoint your fans. So, good morning, everybody. It's me, Mitch. It's Monday morning, and I wanted to talk to you about a few changes that I'm making to my Monday morning videos. I'm going to stop calling it Old Guy in the Morning. Problem is, I just can't upload videos in the morning and get any traction on them. According to the YouTube analytics, most of my viewers are online after 3 o'clock in the afternoon here, which makes sense. The way YouTube works is when you post a video, if you don't get a response to it that's average or above, they don't push it out. They figure that if your regular viewers aren't interested, why would anybody else be interested? I can understand that, and that makes sense. But it penalizes those of us who release videos early when our own analytics, and I'm going to put up a little graph here which come from my analytics showing the times of day when my users are online. I found if I want a video to actually get some traction, to actually be seen by not only my viewers but new viewers, I need to post it mid-afternoon. It's hard to call a video Old Guy in the Morning when you're going to post it in the afternoon. So I'm just not going to call it that anymore. I'm going to call it Mitch's Monday Vlog, or Mitch's Monday Comments, or something that I'll figure out before I post this particular video today between 2 and 3 in the afternoon here. It's going to be the same me. It's going to be a combination of some comedy, some ranting, but what it's going to be more than anything is me being myself. So I still have some cigar left from the first version of this that I recorded, so if you'll excuse me while I relight my cigar. Nice to see that there's still magic left in this lighter. I made some notes about what I wanted to talk about today. And first thing I want to talk about is the newsletter that I just mailed out. Many of you have gotten it. If you didn't, or you didn't know about it, on my website, down at the bottom of every page, is a place to put your email address in. I don't ask for any other information other than your email address. It goes on a list. The prime purpose of this is so I can find you if something happens and I disappear on YouTube. Not that I think that's likely, but you never know. You just never know. I've decided it's time to start the newsletter, and I'm going to put it out hopefully monthly. And I hope to make it really, really useful. I think other than this first test one I sent the other day, I'm going to, in my next one of the articles in it is going to be a summary of all of my, what I think are the best recipe videos I've made by title, and then put links in there to the videos and what the recipes are, so that you can go in one place, look and say, okay, here's a list of 20 or so recipes that Mitch has had. what am I in the mood for today, if you're in the mood for something different. So I'll also put that on my website. I'll make a page for that on my website. And I think that'd be a handy little thing. I've done all this work. I've made all these videos. I've experimented, failed, and succeeded. And speaking of recipes, the last recipe that I put out the other day was for what I consider now the final version of my frittata. And yes, my friends, I think that I have finally gotten into my head the correct way to pronounce that. Because in that last video, I called it a frittata. Frittata, frittata. Tomato, tomata. We all know the song. The song ends with, let's call the whole thing off. And since I don't want to call the whole thing off, I don't know whether to thank or chastise the few of you who felt it necessary to point out to me that I said it wrong in the video. Some of you even spelling phonetically in your comments how I should have said it. In my defense, and so as not to look too stupid, all I need to say is that as of about 3 weeks ago, I didn't know what the hell a frittata even was. I saw a video about somebody making them, not a carnivore one, and I said, you know, I think that'd be great. I'm gonna figure out a way to make a carnivore frittata so that we can eat those things. And I started experimenting. I made a video with my first shot at it. Came out great, but I kept working to improve it until I got to the last video. And even then, I've still gotten so many suggestions. Most of them are great about different ways to cook them, different ways to finish them in the oven, do this, do that, do the other thing. And there's more than one way to skin a cat, friends. But I have to reach a point where I'm tickled with the way it came out. I love it, and I'm going to continue to do it this way. I don't eat cheese, so yeah, one of the obvious things is add cheese to it or put cheese on top of it. And if you really love cheese, you should do that. The response I got to that video was terrific, and I want to thank you for that. But as far as the pronunciation goes, I think I pretty well finally got it through my thick head that it's frittata. I have to just remember tatas, which, you know, I should remember. One thing about cigars is, if you don't keep puffing on them, they do go out. They're not like cigarettes with all those friggin' chemicals in them to keep them burning. They're just leaves. No additives, no nothing. So when you stop puffing on them, they'll go out. There's not much of this cigar left. Most of it got burned up during my first version of this video, which I thought was pretty good. I'm going to try to not forget anything I talked about. And that's just part of what happens when you use these cameras. Sometimes something disappears on you. It's a good thing I didn't fly halfway around the world to film something and then have it disappear. And I don't mind doing it again because I love sitting out here on my porch. It's still relatively early. It's 8:45 now. I started the first one about 7 in the morning. Need to get to Sam's Club today. A horrible thing happened to me. A horrible thing. I ran out of eggs. The eggs I used in making that frittata yesterday were the last 6 eggs I had. Fortunately, I have the leftovers from that to eat today, but I do need to get to Sam's Club today. Monday's not the day to go early. There generally is no markdown meat because it's pretty well picked over from the weekend. But I do need to get there sometime today, pick up some eggs if nothing else, and maybe look around and see what I need. I'm not running really low on anything. I'm still working on ribeyes that I bought a year ago, and I don't want to buy any more until I've used that up. I buy them in bulk from Publix when they have those sales around the holidays, where it's a year ago was $5.99 a pound. I bought, I don't know, 150 pounds. That's a lot of ribeye. They raised it to $6.99 a pound, and then I bought some more. I do buy the markdown meat from Sam's when it looks good, which usually comes in with the markdown around $8 a pound. But I get to actually pick the best of what I can find. And if I don't see anything I like, I just don't buy it. I also buy occasionally some New York strips, but I sure like ribeye better. I like ribeye better. One of the highlights of Mitch's Monday vlog has always been, and is going to continue to be, my comment on some of your comments. I get chastised for commenting on your comments as well. I got a semi-scathing, long comment yesterday that took me like 2 days to find, and I'll tell you why. And that comment basically said, stop whining about how long the comments we leave are. Because I've pointed that out to you, that some of these comments are pages and pages long. If you don't like answering comments, don't answer comments. I'm disappointed in you, Mitch. It said, I have recommended your channel to many people. But if that's the way you're gonna be, I guess I'll just stop watching your videos. What the hell is that? I spend every day, I would say, 8 to 10 hours of time reading, answering comments, answering the emails that I get. That's another thing. I don't hide my email address. It's in my About section on YouTube. But here's the rub. If you, while reading the comments, see my reply and respond or reply to that, and not the actual video itself, those kind of things create threads underneath the video, and sometimes those threads can have 20, 30, 50 entries in them of people talking to each other. When you make a reply in a thread, YouTube puts your handle first at whatever you are. For me, it would say at Old Guy Carnivore. When you reply to my reply to somebody else's comment, it doesn't show up in my feed of comments I haven't seen. They send me a frigging email. And that email says, so-and-so commented on your comment, and here it is. And I read it. I can't reply from that email. There is a button that says reply. When I click that button that says reply, it opens another window on my computer and brings up the video where your comment or your reply exists in one of those threads, and I have to find it. When I find it, then, if it warrants a reply, I'll reply. It may be something as simple as, "Thank you, Mitch." I'll give it a heart, but at least you'll know I read it. I get over 100 of those emails a day and have to go through that drill, and I do that usually late at night. Maybe it isn't even till the next day that I can actually start looking at those emails about your comments, replying to one of my replies. I hope you're getting this. And the tremendous amount of time and nonsense it is for me to have to sleuth out your comment. And I do it, and I don't complain about it. But when I finally sleuth out a comment like that, finally find it, and find out it's some not so nice person finding fault with me for not wanting to read a comment that is a novella and accusing me of not caring, that just plain pisses me off. You can imagine what my default answer to somebody like that, especially when they accuse me of something and say, "I just can't watch you anymore if you don't care." And I'm sitting there at 1 o'clock in the friggin' morning caring. You know what? If you're the guy, if you're the person that's watching this that left me that comment yesterday, shame on you. I wrote a long comment back explaining what I just told you about what it is and what it's like. So don't. If you want to reply to something I say, and that means you've replied to my reply to a user's comments on a video, from now on out, if it gets ignored, just understand I need to get some sleep now and then. I can't stay up all night trying to do the impossible and live up to my commitment to you to read all of your comments and emails. There are days when I get 1,000 or more of these things. And my priority is, of course, to put out videos. If my channel keeps growing, and it appears that it is, this will become impossible. And I would have to hire a full-time assistant to do nothing but deal with comments, which is what the big guys do. And it's why when I leave a comment for anybody who has a fairly large channel, I never get any reply or even an indication that it was ever read. Those are usually skimmed over by somebody's office staff, discarding anything that doesn't have something that might be important, that might be forwarded up to the big deal that runs that channel. That's just the way it is, my friends. Don't be insulted if you think I've ignored your reply to one of my replies to somebody else's comment. It's too hard to find and very time-consuming, and yet I still have managed to keep up with it. And late last night, this particular person and their criticism just torqued me off. And let me calm down a little here now. And relight my cigar. Because that is what I consider the health benefit of puffing on these cigars. I do these comments from morons more as a comedy routine. I got a comment yesterday. I laughed my ass off. It said, You need to. I love things that start with you need to. Honest to God, this is true. You can't make this shit up. You need to shave off that scraggly beard of yours and get more modern looking glasses. It will make you look 10 years younger. I just started laughing. That one comment, where you may not interpret it as such, to me was so incredibly telling about the flawed thinking of the human race, about the way we all dwell on superficial nonsense that is not important and doesn't mean anything. That the only use that physical appearance has for anything is to get laid, to attract a mate. Other than that, who cares what you look like? You care, and it's more important to be in shape and be healthy than to be pretty when you're not trying to attract a mate. Sometimes it makes it less of a pain in the ass when you're not so pretty like me. I don't want to be pretty. I don't want women chasing me anymore. I've been there and done that. Along with that comes all of the associated worry, grief, problems, and everything else, with a occasional little bit of happiness thrown in. Now, don't get me wrong. If you're married and you're happily married, I envy you. But it didn't work out for me. And to try to start over again at 77 years old, no, sorry. Why would I want to look younger? I am so incredibly proud of the fact that I'm 77 years old. I don't want anybody to think that I'm 67 years old, because then I'd have nothing to be proud of. I'm proud of the accomplishment of looking and acting and thinking young at 77 years old, when half the people my age have already died. A large percentage of them are drooling in nursing homes. And an even larger percentage have dementia or diabetes or some other disease caused by this friggin' diet that they have us on. I don't want to be younger. I don't want to wear a toupee. I don't want to dye my hair. I don't want to fool anybody. Why would you think that? At any rate, my answer is that I'm proud of my age. Proud. And as I get older, I'll still be proud. I think that's enough for this morning. Talked about the comments. I've talked about how much work it is to dig them out and find them. I've talked about the fact that I'm a realist, but not a know-it-all. Like so many people think. I'm not a know-it-all. I learn something new every day. And I'm going to end this video with something that I learned way back, that has been one of the most important sayings in my life that I've ever heard, and has influenced my thinking throughout my life, and kept me from ever claiming to be a know-it-all or thinking that I have all the answers, because nobody does. So many of those answers have not been discovered yet. Only hypotheses and theories of what those answers might be. That saying is something I think would be helpful to anybody. And the bigger your ego, and the more you think of yourself, and the more narcissistic a person you might be, the more you think the world revolves around you, the more you think that everybody owes you something because of just how wonderful you are. And this is speaking to just a small minority of you. Most of you don't have these traits. But most of you don't cause me any of the grief that that small minority causes me trying to do my little YouTube thing here. To those of you, and the problem is most of you can't admit it to yourself anyway, so you think I'm talking about somebody else. Think about this saying. It's very simple, and I'm going to leave you with it. It's what you learn after you think you know it all that does you the most good. Think about that. It's what you learn after you think you know it all that does you the most good. I live my life every day by that saying, and it's worked out fine. So think about that while you take the rest of the day off and eat meat.